Good morning. I wanted to come on to talk very briefly about this idea of positivity and negativity. Just very briefly, because there's a series of things I want to say about it, but this is just the first. The idea, there's this misconception that it's really important for us to feel positive all the time, and that we have to virtually ignore whatever we feel negative about in order to get to the state of positivity. And that's just not right. That's just not true. Because when we do that, when we really feel bad about something, when something's impacting us and we can feel it in our body, we can't ignore that. And the purpose of that anyway is not for us to ignore it. It's to make us aware that there's a dissonance between what we are believing about ourselves, some belief that we have, and what our body and what our higher self knows to be true about ourselves. That's why we have these uncomfortable emotions. It's our emotional guidance system, and it's really saying to us, look, you're believing something that isn't true. Stop and rethink what you're believing, because this is false. So when we set out to ignore negative emotions, or when we set out to ignore emotional discomfort, we're not fully in our bodies, we're not fully walking along our paths, we're not fully being ourselves. And it's so important to be all of those things in this work that we're doing, and within this work regarding the law of attraction. So rather than, if you're feeling negative, rather than trying to ignore it, rather than trying to bypass this negative feeling, take small steps to move towards feeling better. So it's not about moving from feeling negative to feeling positive. It's about you finding relief, okay? All of this journey is about you finding relief. And when we find relief in small doses, that makes this relief so much more sustainable. So it's like baby steps. And, if we change one small thing about ourselves and we sustain that change, that culminates in a massive distance and massive change in our destination, so to speak, okay? So we only have to change small things one at a time to make a big, big difference. So the negative feelings, if you're feeling negative, if you're feeling bad about something within yourself, find a small way to feel a bit better. Okay? And I will put an exercise up that Abraham Hicks developed, and it's called the focus wheel. And it's a way of doing that incrementally. So if you're feeling that, if you're feeling that, give me an example. You're not good at something, okay? So I'm no good at this, whatever it is, I'm no good at this, I can never do this, okay? Stop for a minute and think, well, last week I did manage this, so I can do this. I'm just not feeling at this moment that I can do it. But I know that I can do it, and I'm going to move further into doing it. So take just a small step, just a wee small change in that belief, remembering, yes, I did do it last week. Or remembering, well, I may not be good at this, but no one's good at everything. Basically what you're doing is you're letting yourself off the hook. Quite consciously and deliberately letting yourself off the hook of the guilt that we carry, okay? Because the guilt that we carry does not serve us at all. It doesn't do us any good whatsoever. So we're looking for small ways to step forward, to incrementally step forward, okay? And we're doing it with love and compassion for ourselves and for other people. Because this work, again, is very much about moving into loving ourselves and being compassionate to ourselves. And we have to, it's so important that we manage to be that. If we're not being loving to ourselves, then we're going to slowly move into being loving to ourselves, into seeing who we really are, into seeing that we have so many gifts, into seeing that, we are amazing. Each and every one of us are amazing. You are amazing. Sometimes we can't see it, but that's the truth. That's just the way it is. You are amazing. You have done so much in your life, And yet we tend to focus on what we haven't achieved. We tend to focus on what we think we should have done, but we haven't managed to do. And very often those beliefs of what we think we should have done aren't even our beliefs to begin with. They're beliefs we have accepted from other people, that have been handed down from other people. Nothing to do with us at all. So, as I started to say, when you feel bad, when you have negative emotions, acknowledge that you're having them. And acknowledge that that bad feeling is a distance between what your ego mind is believing about yourself and what your higher self knows to be true. And this work is about removing that gap. Easily, gently, lovingly, gradually. Removing that gap between what our ego mind wants us to believe is true and what our higher self knows is true. And we do that with self-forgiveness, with self-love, with self-compassion. But we never deny our authenticity. We never deny the reality that we're in. We change the way we feel. We change the way we think about it, which then changes our emotional state of being. And when we change that emotional state of being, that changes our energetic state of being, which completely changes our reality for us, which attracts new and better experiences for us. But it's all about finding that relief, okay? So it's not about moving from negativity to positivity in one great leap. We can't do that. It's not about moving from negativity to positivity per se. It's about finding relief every step along the way. Finding a thought that brings you some sort of relief, okay? I'm going to leave that with you. I hope you all have an amazing Monday. Thank you for being here, and I love you all. Bye.